Okay, so we're getting started with our 10, 10, 10. I love this format because it's not too much on one topic. So we're going to have training. We're going to talk about coaching. We're also going to have an amazing testimony. And what I thought was last week when we talked about what is coaching, I know that can ruffle feathers because you think, okay, I have to message people, post, grow myself, and coach people. Can feel a little daunting, but when I shared that link to Jaime Haskin's video, you guys all said it was the most helpful, amazing resource for coaching. So I said, why would I try to teach something that somebody else is way better at? So I asked Jaime Haskin to hop on this call. She's going to share for about 10 minutes on this topic of coaching and how she was introduced to it, well, how she uses it for her business. So go ahead and just get ready, take all the notes you can, because coaching is such a powerful topic. Jaime, thanks for hopping on. I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to let you take it away.
Hey, thanks, Jen. And thank you guys for inviting me on here tonight. I'm really excited just to talk about this. And I'm excited because it's so valuable, this topic of coaching. It's so powerful and I love it. It's something that I love talking about. I love doing now. And I will tell you right now, that was not always the case. And I did not look forward to coaching. So I will circle back around to that in a minute. But in terms of the impact of what coaching can do for your business and how that can change and improve everything, I want to say, before I even get started, Jen kind of talked about this. If this is new to you, if it's something that you are unfamiliar with, or it's intimidating, that is absolutely okay, because you absolutely will grow in this and it is going to change your business and you're going to gain confidence in this. It's going to be something you love. So tell yourself that. What coaching really is, it increases your leadership and your impact. Now, how does it do that? Because if you are intentionally approaching the people you are working with and talking with them, you are going to be growing yourself and you're going to help them grow versus just seeing what happens. So what does that look like? You suddenly change from going through the motions, being a cheerleader. So, encouraging them and, helping them maybe set goals, but then like, okay, great job. You got this. And maybe they got the same goal the next month because they didn't quite get there. And that's okay. You got this. You're good. Just keep doing what you're doing and you're going to get there. Enthusiasm and helping encourage people is important. Don't get me wrong. That's a good thing. But if that is all you do for them, you are missing the boat. You're doing them a disservice. There's way more to that, right? We don't want people just doing the same thing, going through the motions, if there is a way that they can improve. So that's when you shift from cheerleading to coaching, right? That's when you can dive deeper and help them move forward with their business intentionally. So they are ranking up, they are learning and improving in some skill sets. So first of all, I'm going to give you 2 tips, but the first one is don't overcomplicate it. The idea of coaching in the beginning for me was terrifying. I didn't want to necessarily do it. And the reason behind that is because my idea of coaching was I needed to have all the right answers. If I was on the phone talking to someone, I'd have to know what to say. I'd have to fix their problems. And what if I don't know what to say? What if I don't know what to do? And that like kind of froze me, right? It made me extremely nervous. And the thing is with coaching is it isn't about having the right answers. It's about just asking the questions. So if you can shift from thinking, I need to tell people what to do, I need to have all the answers, and just being curious and asking the questions, which is actually my tip number 2 I'm forwarding to here, is just be curious and ask the questions, then that encompasses it all right there, right then and there. That really comes down to all of that. So it starts with just getting on the phone and talking. For me at the beginning, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. Just get on the phone and start doing it. That might be, getting into the business a little bit and asking what's going well. How is your week going? Tell me about what's going good. What are you excited about? It might be finding out that they're struggling with something. Oh, I haven't been very consistent here. And if you can get in the thought process of asking more questions, oh, why haven't you been consistent? What's changed? Or maybe they have, it's going to come down to two things. They have a skill set or a mindset thing that you can help someone move forward. We are all always growing. I'm always growing. I don't have everything figured out. Jenn doesn't have everything figured out. All the jewels out here do not have everything figured out. We're not perfect. We don't have all the answers. We're still learning. So you are still learning and growing too. Your people are still learning and growing. You don't have to have all the answers in order to help them. You just might have to know 1% more, right? You just have to know a little bit more. If you're coaching someone, you started before them, right? So you know a little bit more. You've been through some things. You can help figure it out. You can help find the answer if you don't know the answer. That's okay. You don't have to act like you have it all figured out, right? So they have to grow and learn as well. So what are you going to help them with in terms of moving forward and growing? It might be monthly goals. It might be weekly goals. It might be a skill set they need to improve on. It's likely going to be mindset. There's going to be a lot of mindset junk. So what happens when you ask questions? You kind of dig out some of that mindset that they might be telling themselves that that's holding them back from moving forward. If they have a bunch of level ones and, they're doing great recruiting, but they're not duplicating, they don't have maybe any business builders yet, haven't really developed any silvers. Why do you think that is? I mean, first you can kind of think in your head, okay, what should they be doing? I wonder if they're doing that, right? So then ask, the big thing is never to assume anything. So ask what are they doing? What are their conversations like? If they're enrolling people on the phone, what are they saying when they're talking to them? Are they telling them about their referral link? Walk me through it. What do you say to someone before they join, when they join, after? Are they talking about the big business? You can kind of uncover and hear what they say. And then you can offer feedback from there on, they're probably not talking about the business, right? Or they're missing some step that you'll kind of uncover. So asking those questions is going to uncover the things so you can help them move forward. So what I would recommend as you get started in doing this with people that you're working with is I get everyone on a schedule. So once a week, I have a standing coaching call with everyone who is working, who's all in. Now, if you have someone dabbling and someone not really producing, or their feet aren't matching their mouth, you might not be giving them that much of your time. But if they, especially at the beginning, if they're saying they want this, they want to grow their business, they're willing to, take the steps, then I just have a standing call set once a week. I will often have those scheduled back to back. So you can do 15, 20 minutes. If you don't have much time, you can do 30 minutes. Mine are generally 30 minutes and they're back to back. So when 30 minutes is up, I get off my call because I have another one scheduled, right? So, okay, we'll finish this conversation if you need to finish it in your three-way chat or on the next call or whatever that is. And then you move on to your next coaching call if you have multiple in a row. So having that standing time takes away that guesswork of when you're going to maybe communicate intentionally with them. You're still talking to them probably regularly, right? Maybe daily. They're still coming to you for questions. The coaching call isn't necessarily for them to come to you and ask whatever question they have on their mind. Now, it can be a space for that a little bit, but that's also stuff that they can come to you during the week when they have questions. So the coaching call can be the time for you to kind of ask the questions and see how things are going. You can kind of take that lead. There's lots of ways people do this. You could have questions ahead of time and have them fill that out beforehand. You can just get on the phone and talk. Again, like I said at the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I just started talking with them. I learned through doing that and learned how to ask better questions. And now it is something I absolutely love doing. And I've grown through that. So I'm running out of time here. So really quick, be curious and ask questions, right? Learn how to do that. Duplicate this up and down with your team. Because if you are doing it, your sponsor's doing it with you, you do it with your people, you're going to learn from them, and that's going to duplicate down, right? So it's going to be a trickle effect. If you don't have a sponsor that's going to be doing it with you, that is okay. Don't let anything like that hold you back. I mean, you could say that about anything that your sponsor is or is not doing for you, right? They are not the one that's going to, get you to diamond in terms of what you are capable of. There's plenty of jewels and diamonds out there who have had sponsors who did not work with them. So you start the duplication with you on what you want to duplicate down, and you start those coaching calls. Take initiative, pass that on. And then really quick, in terms of book recommendations, one is Good Leaders Ask Great Questions by John Maxwell. I couldn't find my book. We just got done reading it for a book club. It's really, really good. And this one, I'm going to go out on a limb because I have not finished it yet, but it looks amazing. And I just started it. It's The Coaching Habit: Say Less, Ask More, and Change the Way You Lead Forever. It is by Michael Bungay-Stanier, but it is really good throughout this book, asking lots of questions on how to dig deeper and how to rephrase how you talk. You want to shift from wanting to naturally provide solutions and give the answers and fix everything all the time to ask the questions and dig deeper and find out more.
I mean, really and truly, if I could get to the place to say what you just said, that I really love it, that you look forward to it, I would say that would be the greatest accomplishment in all of my Plexus career. So I think what you hit when you said the whole idea of you get nervous doing it in the beginning because you think you have to have all the answers. And then you gave this amazing 1% better quote that I'm going to use forever. You just have to be 1% better. That just gave me so much freedom. So one question, when you are doing the coaching calls, are you making sure to keep really good notes so that you know where this person is, what you've agreed to? Do you write it down? Are you typing it up? What does that look like?
Good question. I do both. It honestly kind of depends on, sometimes I'm on the fly and I am flexible and I'm out and about, and then I'm on the phone talking and I'm not taking notes. But when possible, I've taken notes, because when they come up with some mindset stuff that they're struggling with, or when we come up with some skill set or some steps, I try and end in action steps with people, right? They, here's a way they can work through something. And I encourage them to write it down and to come back to me about it. But if they don't, next week on the coaching call, I can look at that and you can say, oh, how did this go? And find out if they actually did it, right? So that's setting action steps, setting it as like they're going to work on it starting now, right? Not next month, not even next week, like start now, because when we connect in a week, I want to see how that went. So taking notes is very, very helpful.
And then if someone doesn't do those things, there's no judgment attached. I mean, this is kind of their choice. And I guess you could say we're holding them accountable, but really, we're just that place where they're coming to share what they're doing. And if they're not doing it, then do you just say, why don't we get back together in a couple of weeks when you're ready to start meeting the goals? Is that how you handle it?
When it becomes a pattern. So if it happens at first, like we talk about it, and then maybe get down to the mindset thing, right? Okay, well, why didn't you do it? Like, do we got some excuses that are happening? Are you, is there some mind stuff happening? And don't be afraid to ask. It's kind of uncomfortable, but I mean, I straight up asked, like, okay, tell me why you didn't do it. I know you said you were going to, what happened, And one thing I would say too, is sometimes we avoid wanting to ask some questions because we don't want it to be uncomfortable. And you might not even want the answers. You don't want the answer that it's hard, that they've been having a hard time. You don't want the answer that they haven't been doing something. You just want to stay positive and tell them all the good things they should do. But if we don't have the answers, you can't help them, right? You can't just pretend that things are going okay and expect that it's going to move forward. It's okay to uncover the hard things and to uncover the negative things they're saying to themselves or whatever it is, because then you can help them find a solution. So don't be afraid to ask those tough questions or be like, listen, last time we talked, you said you're going to do this. What the heck happened, girl? Like, tell me about this, or guy. And then you can go from there. And if it is a pattern where it keeps happening and their feet aren't matching their mouth, then yeah, I might even message them before our call and be like, hey, did you do some of the things we talked about last time? Okay, let's push our call out for another week, because we really need to do those things before we need to talk again,
This was really great. And I think this is a topic that needs to be addressed over and over and over again, because even down to being able to coach ourselves, just doing the same thing. Like you said, being curious and asking those questions. And then for anyone that's asking, what do we ask? What are the questions? Go to Jamie's YouTube channel and look at her videos on coaching. She goes completely through every tool you would ever need to be able to do this effectively. No one here is not able to coach. So if you go watch those videos, you'll grab the questions. This was super good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll be signing up for one of your coaching calls. Just send me the link. I appreciate it.
Sounds good, girl. I need your coaching.
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty thinking you're like an expert on this right now. And you know, it's funny. I did this the whole first year after I became a diamond, and I felt really good about it. And then what's funny is if you can have one experience that isn't pleasant, or if you feel like maybe you're in a place where you're not feeling like you can offer that, you start to struggle with your own mindset issues. Isn't that interesting? And so I love the way that you shared coaching, because I thought, heck, I could coach myself if I just ask myself these questions. Okay. Thank you so much.
It's good to ask back up when you're coaching down. Like I'll ask my upline what things that I'm coaching down about, and that helps give me the confidence too. Or like when you're in those mindset things where like, am I like dropping the ball somewhere here or something happened? They can help kind of bring you back in and give you that confidence too. So, but yes, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
I loved every second of it. And I will post this on my YouTube channel if you want to grab it, but I'll send you the link too. Thank you, Jamie. 1,000,000%. Okay, so we've just covered the coaching topic. Many of you are already doing this and doing it effectively. And some of you didn't even know this was something you could be doing or should be doing. So I just encourage you, remember, you're not their boss. You're not their, conscience. You're literally coaching, asking questions to allow them to discover the answers. So we're going to talk just for a couple minutes about losing your mojo. And then we're going to finish this out with a really great testimony just to inspire you and let you know that this changes people's lives. Plexus, the business opportunity, the community, and the products. So let me read you this definition really quick of what losing your mojo is. If you ever saw the movie Austin Powers, I always think of that when I hear mojo. But this is what it says. Losing one's mojo is to lose confidence, energy, and enthusiasm, and seeing a decline in your success. So losing your mojo, when you first get started with Plexus, you are excited, especially when you make your first post. You might have a friend that wants to try it. You might have a family member that noticed a difference in you, and you feel a level of excitement that is palpable. You are so excited that this could be something big for you. This could actually be something that makes a difference. And so in the beginning, you're working with really high energy. You're excited. Well, over time, things start to degrade that excitement. It could be you miss a goal and you're just so disappointed by that. It could be that you've lost customers. It could be that you're working too much, like you've become a slave to your phone and you become exhausted by that. It could be that you have an issue with someone on your team. There are lots of things that can make a person lose their mojo. And I would tell you, and I'm going to just go ahead and just say this as a blanket statement, I don't know one leader who hasn't gone through a season where they have lost their enthusiasm or their confidence, and it's associated with their success. It doesn't matter the size of your paycheck. It is very, very common to have this happen. And so I'm going to immediately bring to your mind that picture that you see go through social media, where it's like a coffee cup, and it's like, take time to fill your cup so you can fill other people's cup. And it just seems so like rainy day, soft, comfy chair, little cup of tea. And I understand that gentle, sweet reminder to recharge yourself, to fill yourself back up. But I want to talk aggressively with you about this. And I want you to use this analogy. I want you to think that you want to summit some crazy, like some big, huge mountain that I don't even know the name of. And you are on track to summit this mountain, but your shoes are untied. And you never stop to tie them. You're like, I don't care. I got to get there. I want to be at my time. I got to get to the top. So you're tripping over your shoelaces, but you don't care. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to tie them. And you are so parched. You're the most thirsty you've ever been, but you don't stop and take a drink. because you want to get to the top. And so your mind is just like, oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty. You can hardly swallow. You're just dying of thirst. All the while in your pack, you have water. You just don't stop. You're hungry. You can actually hear your stomach growling, and you don't stop to eat the trail mix that you put in your bag. All of those tools were there for you. Everything that was in the way of making your time go well and making that experience for you powerful, and that would have grown your confidence, you're not taking advantage of. And so as you are working your plexus business, I want you to remind yourself, one, the greatest remedy for when you lose your enthusiasm for doing this is for you to remember what this is actually about. And what it's actually about, and this goes straight back to John Maxwell, he says the number one way for you to feel enthusiasm and motivation is for you to serve others. There is something beautiful that happens in the human spirit that revives us and recharges us better than any cup of tea in a soft, cozy chair. So if you start to think, I don't really feel like posting, I don't really feel like hopping on that Zoom, these are warning signs to you that maybe it's become too much about the end goal, or too much about the bottom line, or too much about, am I doing it right? Or too much about the lighting. And you've forgotten that the human drive to create a ripple effect, to make a difference, is alive and well, and it is the greatest driver of any behavior that you will do in your business. So I'm going to encourage you, if you start to feel that way, or if you see a team member and you see that they are stepping back, they're not as excited, I would also encourage you, if you don't feel that confidence, I do not think that you need to be posting and slapping something up on social media, because it will only serve to depress you even more, because the energy behind your post is not going to gain influence. When people are in that place of excitement and they're making a difference, I see my friend Deanne Hall on here. She has such an enthusiasm about her posts right now, especially when I go through, I'm drawn to her because she is serving so many people. She is helping so many people that is driving her to the top. So that's your cure for all things Mojo related. And I asked my friend Morgan Johnson, Sapphire Ambassador, did you ever lose your mojo? Did you, by the way, Morgan? Do you have a story of like a time that you're like, ugh, and then something that you did to turn it around?
Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, as Jenn was talking, I'm like, yep, that's happened to me. Yep, that's happened to me. Yep, that's happened to me. So I've been with Plexus for 6 years, done the business for about 5. I've had people leave. I've had tragic things happen in my life. I've had all of those things that she's saying where it feels like it can take you away from your business. And I can remember some key moments. I remember going backwards in points, really feeling like I was supposed to hit emerald, and even having the Lord speak supernaturally about me hitting emerald. And actually my points went backwards from senior ruby. And it took me almost a year from that knowing. And what I did in that year was multiple things that Jenn even said. I'm like, yep. But I wrote down a couple things so I would stay on task. The first thing is not to compare. We hear it all the time. Comparison is the thief of joy. But a lot of times when we get in those ruts, we look to the left or to the right, but their journey isn't our journey. And each of us have our own journey to walk out. And so flow in the lane of grace that God's given you. I even got this picture of a river, whether you're whitewater rafting or you're just in a tube gently going down. There are always things in the river, right? You might hit a rock, you might have other things, you might flip off, but you're going to get back on, and you're going to start somewhere and you're going to end somewhere, and it's going to be fun. So take advantage of that and have fun. Ride the waves, flow in your own lane of grace. Don't look at other people who are going faster, slower. Maybe they're stuck even more. All of that, you got to put your blinders on, go straight forward, and keep the main thing the main thing. We go back to, why are you doing this? Why did you start? You're here. This is a people business, and you're in it for other people. So go back to that main thing and keep it there. Another thing I love to do is stay accountable. Get a running partner. And when we say that, it's not somebody, negativity will breed negativity all day. So if you're stuck, if you're in a rut, you've lost your mojo, don't find other people who are also in the rut, who've lost their mojo too. You need to go find someone who's doing it well and who's going to pull you out of that rut and keep you accountable and say, okay, what are we doing? It's not working. Let's pray you out of this. Let's get consistent. Let's do other things that can help change the system and build your belief back up, because it's there. You were once there, and I hopped back on. I knew why I was there. I had my visions aligned again. And I went from 836 points in March of 2020 to 1536 in April 2020. So in 1 month, my points almost doubled. And I had to do all those things to jump back up. But once I did that, our team hasn't gone backwards from there. So it's been a huge, huge blessing. So I would like to introduce you to my dear friend who was a breath of life actually in this season. I believe she started running right around this similar time frame. And she was one of those people that I sat down coaching and I felt like I had done this over and over multiple times. I gave her something to do. And it was kind of like a list of things to do. And the next day she was like, all right, what's next? She was my go-getter. She was ready to go and she soared to Emerald. So Chelsea DeSmidt, tell us your story, girlfriend.
You are the best. Y'all, I feel so on fire from this call. I literally have 2 pages of notes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to call my team and be like, all right, we're coaching. I don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night. We're coaching right now. Wake up. So thank you for all of what you all just shared. It was so good. I'm just going to share a little bit of my health and my financial testimony with Plexus. I feel like a lot of people say this often. I wanted nothing to do with Plexus. I didn't want anything to do with Plexus. A lot of people in this chat right now actually went to the same church that Morgan and I went to here in Florida. And I felt like everybody was drinking the pink drink. And my husband and I were so annoyed of this darn pink drink. And we were so close to blocking people on Facebook because it was just like one story after the next, people posting their pink drink. And I'm just like, I don't know what you guys are drinking, but you've lost your minds. And I'm not jumping on that train. Like, my personality is to go completely the other direction that everybody else is going. And so I was like, heck to the no. But I got desperate, and my story is crazy. There's so many layers to it, as I'm sure many of you have many layers to your health story and your health journey. But shortly after I got married, I started to experience some crazy health issues. And it wasn't just like, oh, that's okay, like, go take a nap. It was chronic migraines, vertigo, to where it felt like I was literally just going like this all day long on a boat. And then at any moment, my entire world would just start spinning. I remember going to work and like falling into the cash register and just having to breathe through it because I'm like, all right, I'm having an episode. And it was so hard. I would go to church. My migraines would just get set off at church, and sounds awful, but I'd have my eyes closed, not because I was worshiping y'all, but because I was trying to block out the eye, like the light and the sound. And I'm like crying through it because I'm like, God, I don't want to do this. Like, I want to worship you, but I just feel awful. My life was not thriving. I was struggling. I was young. I think I was 24 when I got married. Like, there is nobody that should be going through any of this, especially as a 24-year-old woman. And so it's hard. And of course, I was newly married, so I wanted to come home at the end of the day and, be a wife and, hey, babe. But yeah, no, I was like, peace out. It's time to sleep. And I feel awful. I'm going to pop my 8th Advil for the day to try to get rid of my chronic pain in my body. Like, it was bad. And there's so much more I could go into with the extent of how bad my health was, but I'm not going to, because that's just way too long of a story. But I was seeing doctor after doctor after doctor, specialist after specialist. And honestly, my breaking point was when I went to a specialist, and, they just kind of try to get you in the appointment and out. And I'm like, no. I looked at him, I was like, you need to sit down and you need to listen to me, because every other doctor before you has pushed me out of their office, and I'm sick of feeling like this. Sit down and listen to my story. And he was like, okay, you've gone crazy. But he could see I was struggling. I was desperate for answers. And he looked at me and he said, I I think you're way too complex for even me. I don't know how to help you. And it was that car ride home that I broke down and I thought, I don't know what to do. Like, God, you have to touch my body because I can't live like this. I was afraid to get pregnant because I didn't know what would happen. I didn't want to be dealing with chronic vertigo while having a baby growing inside of me. So there was just a lot of fear. And I remember thinking, gosh, this is crazy, but I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask my husband if I can try this stupid pink drink because I was desperate. And he was like really, really skeptical, just like I was. And we weren't in a good place financially, but he pretty much said, so there's a money back guarantee, right? And I was like, yeah, there is. And I'm going to get it back in 60 days. Don't worry. Like, we're really not going to lose anything because I'm going to try it. And I know it's not going to work. I mean, I was pretty set on it not working. But I did not get my money back. Actually, what I did was I signed my husband up under me to get his 60-day trial just to make sure the products were actually doing what they were doing. Y'all, my life dramatically changed. And I don't say that lightly. Even talking about my story now 3 years later, I feel like I'm talking about a totally different person because that's just not me anymore. I don't deal with migraines or vertigo. I have a 10-month-old son. I'm thriving. I feel amazing. Postpartum has been incredible. And I don't say that to sound like I'm boasting in my postpartum journey because I know it's hard on so many moms. There are women in this chat right now who have walked through postpartum and it's been hard. It's been hard, but I can confidently tell you that because of the Lord and because of these products, my postpartum journey has been so good. Like, y'all, I was ready to make another baby at 6 weeks postpartum. That's how good Slim is, y'all. Okay. My husband was like, all right, I know we like Slim, but like maybe don't love it this much. But anyway, that's my health testimony. I feel great. I mean, honestly, I love these products and I didn't think I'd ever get to a place where I could confidently tell you that. But I started sharing these products. I think I started them in like June and I started sharing about them in September because I was still really skeptical. Like, do I want to tell people I'm doing this? Is this really what I want my name behind? And I pretty much hit the ground running. And like Morgan said, I just wanted to know everything. I remember going over to her house and like, I was like, just tell me everything. Give me all the details. And I think it was 11 months later, I went Emerald. And it was such a crazy it was just a crazy ride. I did not want to do the business, but when I started, well, I'm just gonna be honest, y'all, I'm a red. So when I started to see the money coming in, I was like, oh, my husband's gonna be so proud of me. And it was so much fun to be able to pay for my products. I remember the first month I could pay for his products. And I was like, hey babe, you want some Slim? Because mama got some money for it. I was so excited. And it's just been awesome. I mean, I can pay for my products every single month. And this house that I'm living in right now is a testimony of the Lord's goodness and Plexus because my paycheck every month pays for our mortgage. Like, what? What? I literally said no to the pink drink and now I'm paying our mortgage with this money. So this is for everyone. I'm still learning so much. There's so much to my personal growth as a leader, everything. But if you want it, it's yours. It's on the table. You just have to work for it. And Plexus is good, y'all. Plexus works. The business works.
Chelsea, your story is one of my favorites ever. And I don't know if you guys caught, she took the products for 60 days, but wasn't really sure if they were working and was thinking about getting the 60-day money back guarantee. But she was like, okay, fine, I'll try it for 60 more days on my husband's name and we'll get his money back. And I think, was it day 74? She was like,
yeah,
I feel amazing. Like it did take her a little bit longer to heal and to balance her body out, but we don't get unhealthy overnight. We're not going to get healthy overnight either. So I love hearing your story over and over and over again. And she's in the getting her mojo back business right now. She had a baby, she had family stuff, and she's ramped up this month. And I'm excited to watch you soar, girlfriend. Jenn, you got anything else?
I'm just going to remind everybody that everything is purposeful. Last week, we had Sarah share and a lady in the chat. It was as if that story was meant just for her. And the same thing happened tonight. You look in the chat and I hear someone saying, this is exactly what I needed to hear at this exact time. So just remember that everything is coordinated and everything is meant on purpose. So I just had to throw that out there. And finally, I'm just going to tell you, if you're trying to summit and your shoes untied, take the time to get the laces and put them back together. Whatever is a barrier for you right now, don't ignore it and keep going. Go ahead and stop and do the work. And that will allow you to serve effectively, which will create success for you that you can be so proud of. So we have one more week of this 10-10-10, and it's going to be so great. Alita Langford's going to be on next week. I can't wait for it, but this was awesome. I'm like have permanent chill bumps. I don't know if you can see it, but it's awesome. I really enjoyed this very much. So thank you to everyone for being on. Go and get that coaching video and let's all become amazing coaches. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Jamie, who's not still on. And you guys have a good night.
Good night.